I know tobacco, smoking, cigarettes, thank God, is very out, out of style. But take a flashback with me. Do you remember, I would say 50s, which was before my time, through like the late 90s, the heavy advertising that the tobacco industry did? Doctors smoking in commercials, this heavy marketing on light cigarettes like Virginia Slims, being healthy, using mascots, Joe Camel, everybody knows Joe Camel, right? To target younger possible smokers. So we know that we're sitting in the 21st century. We know, looking back on that, the tobacco industry did a lot of blatantly unethical things, like they were trying to hide some of the scientific research coming out showing how horrible tobacco was for you. So that's blatant. But what about areas where it's not so obvious what is right and what is wrong, but there's something kind of in the gray area? That's what we're going to be talking about on today's show.
Welcome to the Higher Purpose Marketing Strategy Podcast. If you're frustrated by marketing and want to stand out from your competition, this is the show for you. Every week, we're discussing how to build a plan that attracts your best customers and aligns with your values. I'm your host, Ashley Conway, follower of Jesus, CEO of Be Weird Marketing, marketing coach, and copywriter. I promise to defeat the ick, yuck, and struggle bus feelings you may have about marketing with a few good stories and proven advice. So let's have fun and get to work.
So let's start with a speed limit analogy. Okay, I think there are 3 types of drivers. There are those who drive at the speed limit or under. There are those who like to push it a little. This is me, confession. And there are those who completely disregard it and they just blow through, right? So of those of us who like to push it, typically our goal is we want to go faster, but not so fast that we get a ticket. We don't want to get pulled over. So we're trying to decide, like, what's the line? What's the number that I can go over? For me, I'm going to be real. It's like 7, 8, usually closer to 8. Unless I'm in like a major highway, freeway, something like that, and everybody's going faster. And I'm like, well, by golly, I'm not going to be, I'll go 10 over then. Sure, absolutely. That's so me. So for those of us in that pushing it category and even in the disregarding category, our main goal is go faster, don't get pulled over. Business owners can find themselves in this same situation more than we would like. Sometimes a decision is a clear, like, this is right, this is wrong. But there are going to be areas where it's not black, white, but it's gray as to what is the right thing to do in this situation. And if we call ourselves Christians, Jesus followers, our standard is even higher, but that also maybe makes it a bit easier to identify what's right. So today's episode is going to be a little different. We're going to go through 6 examples of times when it's in a gray area. You have a marketing situation that is in a gray area. These may be things you don't even think of as gray areas until I throw it out to you, and then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's start with Number 1, this is one I did. So I was working on a print ad campaign for a client, and I was working on some headline ideas. We were talking about the result, the transformation the customer gets. The headline we landed on was, you deserve X. Like an example would be, you deserve a nice home. You deserve a beautiful car. That type of thing. And I didn't think a single thing about it. We ran it. I started seeing some samples, I call it seeing it out in the wild, I saw after it was printed, and then just seeing it in real life, to me, I was like, oh, what that screams of is entitlement. And I hate it because we don't deserve any of those things. A nice home, a nice car, the business that we have, the customers that we get, we don't deserve any of those. That's saying, like, I'm entitled to have these things. That's not the case at all. Those are things that we're blessed with. Are we working for them? Yes, we work hard and we have a part in it. But the gifts that we use to earn money, the money that we get, the customers that come to us are gifts, they're blessings. That deserve, entitled word really started to bug me. We did take it out. So that's the first one. And I mean, let me tell you, I've been doing this forever. I did not catch it at first. It seemed like a very benign line. Like I thought it was fine until later the Holy Spirit started pricking me that that's not right. Okay. 2, this is something that marketers, this is a reason that we are criticized, and I get it. And I can't stand the people in my profession that do it. It's exploiting fear and envy. So let me give you a couple of examples. Let's say that you are in the health services business. So you would take things like you could die, you could have a heart attack, you could not be able to engage in activities with your family. Like you're taking their very worst fears, you're exaggerating them, and you're using them to try to motivate people to make a purchase through fear. Like they're so afraid of what the thing is that could happen that they will make a purchase. To me, this isn't even like in the gray area. This is just straight up wrong. There's also envy, and social media contributes to this a lot, that we see people, their homes, the vacations they take, their relationships, let's say with their best friends or their spouses. And we all know we're seeing the highlight reel of their lives, but if you just keep seeing that, you keep taking that in, then what it's supposed to do is foster envy. What you're seeing, these people do these incredible things and their homes are immaculate and beautiful. It's supposed to stir in you, oh, my, whatever it is, my vacation, my home, my relationships aren't that great. But if I get this thing that they're selling, they could be. So you are digging out someone's, and we all have that envy in some amount within us, within our hearts, that can be toyed with. Manipulative marketers can pull at those things, exaggerate them, and make you think my life is not enough. It's not good enough. I'm not content. I'm not satisfied, but I could be if I had this thing. These 2 examples, I believe, are just blatantly wrong, but it's easy to fall into it because so many other companies are doing it that it seems like this is the normal way of doing things. This is how you get people to make a purchase. This is what I'm going to propose to you is the better solution, because we also, even I, talk about you have to, in your messaging, talk about your customers, your ideal customers' pain point. And the purpose of that is not to compel them to make a purchase. When you're talking about their pain, that is not the point you're trying to sell them. What you're trying to do, the whole goal, is to show them you understand them, that you can enter in to their situations and you know they are struggling with this particular thing. It is a gentle reminder for them because of all the distractions we have, all the things we have going on in life. They're not always front of mind. And you know, as an ethical business owner, that someone with this problem, this challenge, would benefit by your service. It would make a difference in their life. But all you're trying to do when you talk about their problems and challenges is just to bring it from the background to the forefront of their mind. So they'll say, yes, I do have this problem, and I believe that this company understands me. They're not telling me there's something wrong with me. They're not looking down on me. All they're doing is understanding me. That is a different angle. So let's keep going. Number 3. This one really got me fired up because this was something I experienced personally. So we know if you're over the age of 40 and you're a lady, you're supposed to be getting your mammogram every year. My insurance company, they changed their policy that they were only going to cover mammograms every 2 years, but they didn't tell us. So I went ahead and scheduled mine and got it like normal, and I get the bill back and it's showing that I owe a few $100s, and I was like, this must be a mistake. I call the insurance company and they tell me, oh yeah, we changed our policy in July. And I think this was September. We changed our policy in July. Now we only cover those every 2 years. And I thought that was outrageous. I'm like, I asked, who can I talk to about this? Because I was just fired up. I realized the importance of getting a mammogram, and I felt it was irresponsible of them to make the choice to not cover them every year and to not flippin' tell us. You could tell I'm still kind of angry about this. So they're like, we put it out in a newsletter. So I think what they tried to do is bury it. They send out a monthly newsletter to the companies that they work with. And it was one of the items listed in there. Well, guess what? As the spouse of a employee, I did not get that newsletter. What they should have done, they should have mailed out to every woman of that age, 40 and above, and say, this is our new policy. just because you have bad news that you know is going to be unpopular, disliked, that doesn't mean, well, we should try to bury it and hope that we don't have big problems. That's ridiculous. And I understand that the people in probably my shoes, the marketing people at this company, did not have any decision-making power. They had no input as to the policy change on this. They were just receiving the news. But once you have that, it is your responsibility to decide where you're going to go from there. And it's always customer first, not, oh, we're trying to protect our customer service reps from getting blown up. Or we know this is going to have a big backlash, so we're just going to do what we need to do, which is sort of notify people, but bury it. Even if the news is bad, especially when the news is bad. Be upfront, be transparent. If you're going to do something that's going to be received negatively, give your reasons why. Give people a number to contact or a way to get in touch with you so there can at least be conversation. Okay, so 4. This is another one that personally happened to me. Have you all noticed products that you are buying are now, they probably are the same price, but they have shrunk in size? Let me give you an example. My 7-year-old loves the fiber bars, like the chocolate fiber bar. Fiber One would be the brand name, but she likes the ones that are great value from Walmart. I have noticed the prices stayed the same. Here in Salt Lake, it's $4 for a box, but the bars have got 25% smaller. And that's not the only product, right, that this has happened to. You all have seen it. And this makes me crazy because, number one, I would rather them charge me 25 extra cents and give me the regular size bar, but I know they can't ask everybody for their individual choices. But at least I want them to communicate this is happening instead of being deceitful. Don't try to deceive me and think I won't notice. Tell me on the front end. So this example is for a Walmart product. I am a Walmart Plus member. They email me all the time anyways. How hard would it be to email at least their Plus members and say, inflation is high, we know times are hard, we are a low cost business. Lower prices is where their USP is at, their unique selling proposition. That's what they own. We are the low price store. That's fine. I would rather them say, times are hard, all of our customers are stretched thin, we want to keep prices low. We know that is the most important thing to you, but we're also dealing with all of these other increasing costs. So the way that we're going to do that is to slightly change our packaging, but we're also going to have to change some of our actual product sizes. You're going to get a little less in order to have the same price. I just want to be told, right? I just want somebody to be not only honest, but to go the extra mile and to be proactively honest. Be transparent and tell me what's about to happen. And it wouldn't faze me at all. I'd open that box of bars and give her one and I'd be like, great, Julia, here is your bar. Enjoy. So I think that is so much of it is to go the extra mile, to be transparent, because I don't think you can over communicate to your customer base. Okay, that's 4. Number 5. And if you are an iPhone user, you will agree with me on this. Have you noticed that as your iPhones, your iPad, whatever it is, ages, it becomes obsolete, basically? There are upgrades that updates, software updates that you suddenly can't get because they make them so large, these files, they don't even fit on your device anymore. They start slowing down, getting problematic. And there's not that anything is wrong with the device, I don't think. It's that they are trying to push you to upgrade to the newest model. And I think that is deceptive because a phone is expensive. It is an investment. These things are like $1,000 and most of us are paying them off through the course of like a 2-year contract. So it's not something that's inexpensive. And I dare say some people would probably have to plan and budget for a device upgrade. But they kind of give you no choice when the one that you have starts glitching, it slows down, you can't download things on it anymore, or the apps no longer support the older versions and you're forced to get a new one. I think that's a low integrity move. I mean, there are ways to get people to buy the newest iPhone or whatever the device is without forcing them into it. I think a purchase that is made because somebody felt forced or scared or envious or some of these things is unethical. I think your job in marketing is to make people want what you have, not feel like they have no choice. Okay, now here is number 6. So McDonald's, around the time of Lent, I don't know if they're going to do it this year. They have done it some in the past, is to promote their filet of fish. And I have to do that. Give me that filet of fish. Give me that fish. Oh my gosh, how great are they at marketing that I can stinking remember the song. Anyways, so they're doing it around Lent because they are targeting Catholics who are only eating fish on Fridays. And this is a fine line. Is it that they're feeling empathy and trying to help a certain segment of the population? Is it that they are a faith-based organization that wants to honor people of faith? I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think what they're doing is trying to exploit this segment of the population by promoting the fish at them, basically. Like, it's taking advantage of people of faith. Now, I'm not saying that Catholics do not want a filet of fish sandwich on Fridays. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that there is a way for McDonald's to do this with integrity, to say, we love our Catholic customers, and so we're offering a special deal on filet of fish sandwiches for the entire period of Lent to make whatever you're giving up. Obviously, the wording would be different. To make whatever you're giving up a little easier. And I think that is honoring that group of people. So I think it is these, though. It's the gray areas that we have to put more thought into. So for homework this time, this we know was not the typical episode with 3 easy steps or with clear actions to take, so you have no homework this week. Don't you feel like a kid at the end of school? My goal with this episode was just to shine some light on some of these situations. And then what I'm going to count on is either for your conscience or for the Holy Spirit, depending on what you believe, to tell you when something is off, to just float it up into your mind to know this is not the best way to do that. Because I know these are hard, and these also, to know that something is wrong is going to take a pause. You can't just blow through everything, the list, all of your campaigns as quickly as possible. It does take someone who can kind of step back and say, are we doing this ethically? Are we being transparent? Are we honoring the target of this campaign, our target audience? Are we honoring them? Are we lifting them up and showing them what could be and, making much of them? Or are we kind of digging into hurtful things and not meaning to, because it's easy to slide into some of these. So let's move on to office hours. Megan this time asks, where is the line between persuasive marketing and being misleading? How can I make sure I'm selling ethically? And, so much of this that we're talking about today requires discernment and wisdom. But a few examples that I can give you, Megan, is to, number one, as you're selling, as you're marketing, remind people of what they already want. You're not convincing them to want something they don't. This is something they already want. You're reminding them of that, and you're reminding them of why they want it, like why it will be helpful to them. You're not pushing them to do something they don't want to do. And that is so different. Honestly, that is so different than what the marketing industry, the way that most of us do things. You're just helping people. You're reminding them of what they're already wanting. You're being visible when they're already looking. You're not trying to convince them that they need to buy something that they really don't, that they really don't need, that they really don't want. You're looking for the people who already want what you have. It's more of a matchmaker situation. You're trying to find your match than it is a selling situation, like a car salesman. Hey, we've got a deal. Come on in. No, you're looking for your matches. 2, don't exaggerate just to get attention. We've seen that. And in the health field, that's even worse. Like, I'm thinking weight loss. Like, this, you can lose 10 pounds in 10 days. That's exaggeration. That's huge exaggeration. And it's also, let's say for this person, whatever company is offering this weight loss solution, let's say that has happened. Let's say they have a 300-pound client that they're working with, and in the first 10 days, that 300-pound client lost 10 pounds. That's true. But to take that and put that claim into your marketing and say, oh, the average person is going to lose 10 pounds in 10 days, that's not correct. That's unethical. And then 3 is to, just beware creating scarcity when there isn't any. We only have 10 of these products left. We only have 2 slots this week for projects, whatever it is. If that's not the truth, now it's a different thing. This is the alternative to say, here are books for, here's the schedule for next week, and we literally can fit in 3 extra projects. Then you can go out there and say, we have 3 slots next week for customers, for customers looking for this thing. Versus if you look at next week and you're wide open, don't go out there and say you have 3 slots. That's not true. You have tons of slots. So those, again, are little nuancy gray area things, and just 3 things off the top of my head that will hopefully start your wheels turning, Megan, and help you just to evaluate what you're saying. The messaging is so much of it, to evaluate the messaging and make sure it is above board and honest and transparent. All right. So that is all for today's episode. Always being ethical, to the best of your ability. We're all going to make mistakes, just like me and my "you deserve" line. We're all going to make mistakes, but trying to be ethical will help you stand out in the marketplace, because let me tell you, there are a lot of people in my industry who are not worried about being ethical. They certainly don't worry about the gray areas. So it's going to help you stand out, and standing out is important. That is how you find your matches. That is how you find your ideal customer. And that's why I created this 40-minute free video training with 10 other ways that you can stand out from your competitors. You can get that at bit.ly/marketing standout. And that is all for this episode. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to today's show. For all things podcast, including transcripts, extra resources, and a place to submit questions for the show, visit higherpurposemarketingstrategy.com. I'd also love for you to do me 2 quick favors. 1, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and 2, share this episode with your colleagues. And that's a wrap. Meet you back here next week.